Hello and welcome to Drive It, the DW Car Show. On this edition, a world premiere in Barcelona. Audi unveils its new A8. Taking the plunge, the Amphicar 770. Plus, the new E-Class convertible from Mercedes. The new E-Class convertible rounds off Mercedes-Benz E-Class range. It's the fifth member of the family, alongside the sedan, the station wagon, the coupe, and all-terrain models. And it can look back on a very successful history. The 300 CE24 from 1992 was Mercedes-Benz first four-seater convertible, explains our carman Emmanuel, and even back then it boasted some rather special safety features, like the automatically deployed roll bar. The new model has it too, and many other things. Among the standard features are a driver fatigue attention assist, an active brake assist, and the pre-safe system familiar from other models, which can prevent accidents by identifying critical handling situations. Plus, multi-beam LED headlights ensure the road ahead is always clearly visible after dark. The designers also set out to increase pedestrian safety. In case of a head-on collision, in certain circumstances, the rear section of the hood can be lifted up. The increased clearance from the components in the engine compartment creates additional deformation space to reduce the risk of injury to pedestrians. The LED taillights featuring a new crystal treatment are likewise standard. The optional comfort package creates an in-car Indian summer thanks to the air scarf neck level heating and the air cap feature, which cuts down air turbulence. We checked out the E400 convertible with a 245 kilowatt engine. The interior shows the usual high-quality workmanship and equipment. It's replete with leather and high-gloss finishes. And there's a range of extras to make driving more enjoyable. There's a heated steering wheel, and for the front seats, a memory function and ventilation to keep you cool when the weather's hot. There's something for everyone here. The standard-fitted acoustic soft top, which minimizes noise and enhances climate comfort, opens and closes in 20 seconds. And that also applies when you're on the road, of course, up to a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. As every convertible driver knows, explains Emmanuel, when the car's been parked in the sun for a few hours, leather seats can be pretty uncomfortable, especially if you're wearing shorts. So Mercedes came up with heat-reflecting leather. It keeps the temperature reasonable, so when the car's been standing in the sun, you're not likely to burn your legs. The E-Class convertible offers a range of 5 gasoline and diesel engines with the Eco start-stop function. The 3-liter 6-cylinder unit we had propelled our test car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.5 seconds. Top speed is 250. Emmanuel finds the engine output range from 143 to 245 kilowatts pretty impressive. Even the smallest unit packs a punch. Plus, the 9G Tronic automatic transmission is standard for all, and all-wheel drive is also optionally available. And the new model is big. The convertible is 12 centimeters longer, 7 centimeters wider, and has an 11 centimeter longer wheelbase than its predecessor. Overall, Emmanuel says the new E-Class convertible is a perfect open-top four-seater. The simple reason is there is no real competition in this segment. And this is no wannabe four-seater. This is the unique article, as rear seat passengers will discover too. Prices start at just over 54,000 euros in Germany, with the E400 we tested costing 70,000 euros plus. Car makers are always conjuring up new ways of presenting their products. Welcome to the inaugural edition of the Audi Summit, where the Bavarians showcase the innovations they hope will make them a premium digital car company. At trade fairs today, says Sales and Marketing Chief Dietmar Vogelreiter, new products are just a mouse click away. You can present a car at the fair and post the complete presentation online. Trade fairs no longer have quite the same status, so we thought it would be a good idea to make a strong branding statement now and again, and the Audi Summit was born. It was an explosive showcase of the Audi range. If you've got it, flaunt it. The huge main stage played host to an extravaganza of dance, acrobatics, and automotive ballet. The highlight of the audiovisual spectacular, the world premiere of the new flagship A8, now in its 4th generation. Over 2,000 guests from around the world were in Barcelona to witness the event.
Welcome to Future Premium. Welcome to the all-new Audi A8.
The challenge, explains Audi design chief Marc Lichte, was to introduce a new design theme, and it makes sense to start with a top-of-the-range model. You can see how the A8 has a completely new exterior look. The shoulder line has been lowered to between the wheels. That created more space for muscles above the front and rear wheels. And that new design vocabulary makes the A8 highly distinctive all over the exterior, whether on the sides, the rear, or at the front. The single-frame radiator grille has undergone some radical changes. Marc Lichte says the single frame now has significantly different proportions. For the last 10 years, it was more vertical, so to visualize the performance character, they made the grille flatter and wider. Inside, Audi wanted to up the comfort, with plenty of space for rear passengers too. And there are some interesting new features up front. Built-in touchscreens that let the driver operate the A8 in smartphone style. The architecture of the dashboard is all new, like no other Audi before it. It's smooth now. We've integrated the displays into a piano black finish. And as for what those controls can do, the new A8 is the world's first production car with advanced autonomous driving technology. In slow-moving traffic on highways, it can take control of the car at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, allowing the driver to focus on other things. Another highlight is the active suspension. A front-mounted camera and laser scanners detect uneven patches of road in advance and adjust the suspension accordingly. The electromechanical rotary damper system responds in milliseconds and adapts to the road conditions. The new Audi A8 also absorbs the kinetic energy generated by any bumps or holes, ensuring a very smooth ride. And the new luxury sedan is also setting the pace on the safety front. An array of cameras, ultra-scan sensors, and radar and laser scanners combine to prevent collisions. The car analyzes the driving behavior of other vehicles. Passenger safety is top priority. The first new A8 models to hit the road come with a V6 gasoline engine and a V6 diesel. They will be followed by 8 and 12-cylinder versions and a plug-in hybrid. Jaguar has launched its new compact SUV with a spectacular stunt. The EPace duly leaped into the Guinness Book of Records with a 270-degree barrel roll. The new crossover comes with a choice of 3 diesel and 2 gasoline engines. It's a step down in size from the F-Pace and in price too, starting at just under 35,000 euros in Germany. Ford is presenting the new generation of the Fiesta. The iconic Super Mini celebrated its 40th birthday last year, but it's looking younger and more progressive than ever before. It will come in 7 equipment lines with a range of customization options. And spring 2018 sees the arrival of the Fiesta Active, a crossover model featuring higher ground clearance and protective cladding. Car tester Andre Zimmermann recalls Subaru rolling out its very first rear-wheel drive vehicle in 2012. The result of a collaboration with Toyota, it was named rather unimaginatively Boxer Rear-Wheel Drive Zenith, or BRZ. And now, he'd like to find out what makes this rear-wheel drive car with a Boxer engine a zenith of automotive achievement. The BRZ and the identical GT86 by Toyota were the first product of Subaru and Toyota's collaboration. Subaru had taken the initiative, and then Toyota expressed its interest in adding the sports car to its model range. The moment Andre steps on the gas, he realizes the engine is not the reason for the confident name, especially not in combination with the automatic transmission, but that's only half the story. Under the hood, the Toyota influence is obvious. The Boxer engine combines natural aspiration with Toyota's D4S direct injection. More important to Andre than the performance of this engine is the construction type. This is a Boxer engine. That means the crankshaft and the cylinders are, in this case, above level with the tops of the tires. But as we don't have an inline four-cylinder configuration, so the center of gravity is farther back. That allows a near-ideal distribution of weight with a low center of gravity. The BRZ's facelift has left the basic body completely intact. What's new are the full LED headlights, reworked from fascia, and restyled rims. The racy contours, accompanied by flared rear fenders, impress sports car fans from the outset. The new rear spoiler now stands some distance above the trunk lid. The taillights have also been reworked. The spring rates for the suspension and the dampers have been tweaked, and the rear stabilizers reinforced. Andre notices that high centrifugal forces hardly bother the BRZ. This is where Subaru shows its true cornering qualities. The suspension is very communicative and dynamic. The driver always knows what the front and rear axles are doing and where there's any loss of traction, so they can respond instantaneously. Our test car had the Sports Plus line, which differs from the regular Sport Edition only thanks to the Alcantara leather and heated seats. The 6-speed automatic transmission in this car is great at saving fuel, since it tends to rein in both the acceleration and the top speed. The BRZ's tires are the same size as the ones on the current Toyota Prius, so the BRZ might drift a bit rather than keeping to its lane. Amateur racing drivers often replace them with something that has a bit more traction. Andre notices how dynamic the Subaru can be when accelerating out of a curve. A differential lock sensitive to the torque makes sure the thrust goes to the wheel with the most traction, so it's not wasted. The BRZ is a driving machine, a samurai that cuts its way through curves. The engine may not be that powerful, but the car has still become very popular as a sports coupe, due mainly to its excellent handling. Even so, most buyers opt for the BRZ's twin from Toyota and its lower price tag. Andre is sure that anyone who understands the BRZ's concept will agree it's a curved monster of the highest quality. Anybody who doesn't like that would probably rather drive straight than around bends. But Andre still wouldn't call it the zenith of rear-wheel drive Boxer engine cars. Porsche's had a monopoly claim to that for decades. One last tip, don't buy the automatic, buy the stick shift. Here too, Porsche is years ahead of Subaru when it comes to rapid-fire automatic shifting. Ronnie Lefstek's convinced that when it comes to towing capacity, there's just no way around the Volkswagen Touareg. It can handle up to 3.5 tons. But he's going to concentrate on the interior because this is a special Touareg. The interior has some juicy details in store. VW had some new ideas for the Touareg's facelift. Aside from the new front section, the changes to the exterior are hard to spot. Taking center stage among the innovations are the V6 TDI engines. They've acquired an SCR catalytic converter module that considerably reduces nitrogen oxides. The driver can indulge in the torque to cruise along or put on the power. It makes the dash to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.3 seconds, reaching a top speed of 225 kilometers per hour. VW has also given its workhorse's taillights a new grooming. Cargo capacity begins at 697 liters with a maximum of 1,642 liters. The trailer hitch pops out at the push of a button. The Touareg's air suspension carries it across the roughest terrain. On top of the sporty R-Line design on the outside, our test car had the extensive executive package of interior features. Ronnie is impressed. The Napa leather seats have the diamond quilted pattern and decorative stitching, plus adjustable heating and ventilation. The dash has luxurious wood grain trim. But one thing that shows this spiffed-up Touareg isn't cutting edge in every respect is the relatively sluggish infotainment system. The steering, too, feels a bit indirect on the road. That has to do with making it suitable for off-road maneuvering. Even so, the power steering makes parking, for example, a cinch in physical terms. For Ronnie, VW's Touareg is a mid-sized luxury SUV chock full of luxury features. Thanks to the air suspension, he can lower the rear at the push of a button, handy for loading heavy objects. It may take a little while, but it works like a charm. The Touareg is a great all-rounder for car buyers with the necessary financial resources. It can handle rugged terrain, heavy loads, and even families out on vacation. Today, our classic car expert Christoph Bauer is hitting the road in a unique mix of car and boat. It's German engineers Hans Trippel's legendary Amphicar. As early as 1932, the self-taught automotive designer had converted his old DKW race car into an amphibious vehicle. But his most important creation was the Amphicar 770. Produced starting in 1961, it was the first series production amphibious vehicle made for private customers. Christoph says Hans Trippel was obsessed with creating an amphibious car and devoted his entire life to the idea. But Christoph says the passionate visionary did experience some setbacks, like in December 1934, when the car ended up at the bottom of the Rhine River during a test drive. But that very night, Trippel salvaged his waterlogged vehicle, and 3 days later, it was back on the road. Through all the highs and lows, he never let anything distract him from his vision. Trippel built his last amphibious car, prototype, in 1990, at the age of 81. Series production of the Amphicar began in 1961. Hans Trippel got financing from German industrialist Herbert Quandt. The amphibious car mainly targeted the U.S. market, which, as Christoph notes, was evident from its very name. He explains it was called the 770 because it could go around 7 miles per hour in water and 70 miles per hour on land. He thinks the car's a great idea and should have sold like hotcakes in the land of opportunity. The Amphicar's body was made in the northern German city of Lübeck, with the final assembly being done in Berlin. Production of 25,000 Amphicars was planned, but the initial reaction to the model was less than enthusiastic. Christoph quotes one of the first damning verdicts. The Amphicar combines the qualities of an impractical car with those of an impractical motorboat. He says that's cruel, but unfortunately true. He hasn't tried it in water yet, but even on land, driving down winding roads is enough to make you seasick. The little 1.1-liter rear-mounted engine from Triumph delivers just 38 horsepower, which doesn't make for much driving pleasure. And back in 1961, the Americans with their big V8 engines were used to something else entirely. Still, the Amphicar's a real beauty. Okay, that was a joke, Christoph admits. He thinks that the design's overly ambitious. Though well-intended, it looks half-baked. He admits there's some nice chrome trim and, of course, these generous tail fins as a nod to U.S. customers. The fins also serve to break any waves and protect the engine from getting flooded. The amphibious part, these two ships' propellers down here that drive the car in the water. The bottom part of the body is a completely sealed hole, and here in the doors there are extra rubber seals to keep the water out. At least that was the hope. Before the Amphicar was delivered to buyers, every single one was tested in a pool first to make sure it was watertight. Still, one look at the Amphicar's standard equipment, its water-braking tail fins, raised exhaust pipe, and obligatory paddle doesn't exactly fill Christoph with confidence. Will it float or won't it? He wonders. Now comes the exciting part. Here we go. It's very important to insert the navigation light here at the rear, especially when traveling at night. Then Christoph gets in and battens down the hatches. These little levers on the doors are to seal everything off completely. It's time to head for the water. And once he's in, he'll put it in neutral and engage the propellers using this stick shift. Fair winds and following seas. Oh, God, he says. It's a strange feeling driving a car into the water. It's floating. It's floating. Christoph simply can't believe it. Driving by its two ships' propellers, the Amphicar can achieve a speed of 6.5 knots, or roughly 12 kilometers an hour. The propellers have to be switched off as soon as it's back on dry land. Without the counter pressure of the water, they'd rotate far too fast and cause massive damage to the separate water transmission. Christoph honestly can't understand why you need a sport boat license to pilot the Amphicar in Germany, because it's hardly a sporty mode of transport, churning along so casually. Just turning it takes a lot of patience because the steering only functions through the front wheels, and the turning circle is a whopping 35 meters. Though salt water could be corrosive, the Amphicar is even seaworthy. In 1962, 4 Britons crossed the English Channel in 2 Amphicars. It took them just under 7.5 hours. Getting into the water isn't a problem, but getting out can be. The 770 is a rear-wheel drive model, so the front wheels are of no help when it comes to navigating steep shorelines. Christoph says the vehicle's pretty high maintenance too. After 5 hours in the water, there are a dozen spots that need greasing, and that's not his thing. In the 1960s, most potential buyers were of the same opinion. Of the 25,000 vehicles planned, just 3,878 were actually built, and production ceased altogether in 1968. Only a few Americans bought one, but Christoph thinks that's a real shame because, as the first series production amphibious vehicle for private use, the Amphicar is definitely a milestone in automotive history. And great fun, too. At first, Christoph laughed at the Amphicar, but in the end, he wanted one himself. No wonder the model is prized by collectors and commands high prices. Amphicars in good shape can change hands for well over 50,000 euros. And next time on Drive It, the new Audi RS5 Coupe. And be afraid, be very afraid, the Rolls-Royce Wrath Black Badge.